Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the completely now swept under the rug EPC Season 1. As you notice, we've rebooted the league multiple times, and just due to various conflicts, etc., it has fallen apart. But today we have a smaller roster, um, and with that, hopefully, we will be successful. Depending on what happens throughout EPC Season 1, we will consider expanding the roster or not. I, myself, Major Spectre, have stepped down from player to be just a commissioner, and this is why I am bringing you, partially why I'm bringing you this video. As you will see from the title of this video, this is a EPC Season 1 draft recap. I will give you weekly status updates on the channel to see how our players and coaches are doing. But I am not alone. I have a friend who is a co-coach of one of the teams. Drake, please say hello.
Hello, what's up?
So yeah, Drake is here to give a little bit more in-depth analysis. I am going to be super vague. He's a co-coach, so he's not. He should have very little bias, because the most he will be doing, in terms of who he is co-coaching with, is helping make sets, helping make plays in game, helping prepare. But the coach that will actually be doing all of the battling is his respective co-coach, so if you have a little bit more insight on how co-coaching will work between you two, Drake, you can indeed share your piece, because your team is actually first.
Yeah. So Tony came up with this idea with me, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we're going to build resets. Obviously, we already built resets. By this video will go out. We will discuss and everything what we could do, and he's going to do all the plays. I gave him notes, and hopefully he follows the notes and we grade about most of the things we were doing. But that's it's like a team effort right now. We both want to win, or we both want to win right now, so we're just going to do it. Our first team.
Yeah.
I never dropped this. Okay, so this is me. I never dropped this team. Tony just came up with this idea after we dropped. So I have no idea. I don't know what was his thought process, but I think this is one of the teams that looks very fun to use, because you have Mega DNC, you got Menifee, NK, Kabbalah, Krovat, Lylan, Lycor, Rotom, Tabulu, Cresselia, Cardinal, and Shrewbat. Don't ask about Shrewbat, the god. But I think this is a 13 team. Look at the other teams so far, being Mega DNC and being the whole idea of Kabbalah being Z. I think this is one of the 13 teams out here, because you do have the Final Mons being Cresselia, and then being also Tapu Bulu could be Fat, and then you have Fat Bat being Crobat. Yeah, his team is kind of weak to ground, but he has Tapu Bulu, which shuts down most of the ground, unless you only Stomping Tantrum, I think that's what's called, this gen, and Ophal. But there's not that many mods who will run Ophal, because it's just a limited move.
Yeah, very few Pokemon actually get access to Earth Power, and a lot of those that do are physical attackers, so you don't want to run Earth Power. It is very interesting to see. You had a couple of Pokemon that you could choose as fairly good Z users. I've used Cryogonal in the past, and it's put in work. I've used Entei, I've used Flygon, I've used Rotom, but you decided to go with your most safe Pokemon as Z users, being Manaphy and Cobalion. Makes a lot of sense. Manaphy, people expect just Z Rain Dance, but it can do so much more. And so people will probably be preparing for Z Rain Dance, so I don't know if you're going to bring that. But you do have the Cobalion there, which people are going to be expecting Ran as a Zmon, but if you have Manaphy on the team, they're probably instantly going to gravitate towards Manaphy being your Zmon if they're both there. So I like those options. I also like that you have, various Mons that you can bring instead of their counterpart. Like if you don't actually want to bring Diancie 1 week, you could bring just Bulu. You could bring both of them. The biggest issue you have, even though you have a lot of resistances to, is just because you have Diancie and Bulu is steel types. I know you got the Entei there, you got the Cobalion, you got the Crobat, you got the Flygon. They don't really care. Um, but like that's just something to keep in mind. I like that you have Crobat, Flygon, and Rotom as well. Not only just Bulu to help with the ground weakness, so I think it's a very balanced team. Um, and I would say it's probably top five in the league.
Yeah, I give it probably 7.5 out of 10. I'm not gonna be higher or lower because it's like you obviously said the weakness to it, so I'm not gonna get higher because of only still weakness. I'm not gonna get lower because of still weakness because of obviously answers on this.
Yeah, and I even forgot to mention like Cresselia and Swoobat, and Cresselia, Cryogonal, and Swoobat are all there as well. So like your ground type weakness is essentially non-existent, even though some of your biggest threats on your team are weak to ground. So
Yeah, like I mean that's why if I was Tony drafted because Crobat is flying, Flygon's levitate, Zilchon's levitate, Sarah's levitate, Cryogonal's levitate, and two guys. So yeah, it makes sense on what he drafted.
yeah, so that is it for the Toronto Star Raptors. They had the first pick in the draft, which is why everything here goes in order. And the next team we have is the Independent Registeels with their coach Shadow. And his draft was Mega Audino, Tapu Koko, Silvally, Crocodile, Decidueye, Bronzong, Gastrodon, Komala, Hawlucha, Necrozma, Magmortar, and Druddigon. They have 40 points left open that they can use until week 7 for free agency, should they need to. Interestingly enough, I am going to point out, they have Magmortar, they have Druddigon, both good Pokemon if you don't have options, but with him eventually deciding to pick up Mega Audino, Magmortar and Druddigon are a little weak. They are both, I believe, tier 4 Pokemon. I know that Druddigon is. I can't remember if Magmortar is tier 4 or tier 5.
Yes, it is.
Um,
I think it's still 5. Let me check.
I'm pretty sure it's tier 4. If not, then it's tier 5. My point being, Magmortar you could swap out for something like Emboar if it's tier 5. No, because Emboar is tier 3. I'm an idiot. If Magmortar is tier 4, you could jump up their undrafted Pokemon like Emboar, like even the god Darmanitan. Or if you wanted to keep Magmortar, Druddigon, you could go up and you could pick up Haxorus, which was undrafted, or Dragouge, which was undrafted. So that's something to keep in mind. This Pokemon, though, has incredibly fat Mons, incredibly threatening Mons in Kokolucha, Core, Crook. It's just interesting. Like I said, you have fat Mons to back it up. Mega Audino being the main cleric. Decidueye can be fat, can be offensive. Bronzong's fat, Gastrodon's fat, Komala's fat. We all know that Necrozma's fat, so...
Well, I learned offensive Necrozma every time I have it. I swear. But yeah, Necrozma is like the fattest one. Like one of his fattest ones. Besides probably Mega Audino. And then wish support with Necrozma is scary.
Yeah. And then not to add on, you have their Zmons, as you can see on the screen, being Koko, as well as Necrozma. Necrozma, I believe, is one of the most underrated Zmons, just because, you can't... Z Photon Laser is a thing that you have to be wary of. But photon laser works really interesting, so you have to make sure that you have it, um, like you know what you're doing, like you have it all knocked down. Also, just Necrozma gets really good non-attacking moves that you can use as a Z move that will help that Pokemon out.
I personally think Necrozma is like one of the best users in my opinion because it gets like off power, it gets things like Heat Wave, which people don't know about. Gets things like their own way of recovery is Moonlight. It can learn itself Morning Sun if it wants to. It just gets a lot of different options. It gets like Dragon Pulse, Outrage, Steel moves. Like this monster just goes in hand. Like you see it, and it's just really fantastic. Like base 120 off of a mon that's like base 107 attack is scary.
Agreed.
And it does get knocked off in this generation, so that's very fantastic for Necrozma. So it doesn't have to worry about things like, I guess you can say a AD Tango, so it doesn't have to worry about that anymore. So he just knocks off in his Heat Waves or Psychics or anything like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. One of the things to be wary of, and I know they've got Silvally as well as Komala, but this team, I believe, is pretty fantastically weak to hazards. Uh, you may not be able, it may not be a threat just because Coco Lucha is such a disgusting core. Um, and Bronzong is a disgusting lead. Uh, but that is something to be wary of possibly for them. Um, and you never want to run Defog on Lucha, so let's just get that out of the way right now.
Unless you're crazy. Unless you're like, you think that's going to work. I don't know, I've seen crazy things of tapped the Lucha before.
I think actually, even though you don't really need it, I didn't mention it before, but I personally think that the two best types, or actually the three best types to double up on in terms of leagues, if you're gonna double up on types, are Fairy, Steel, and Dragon, and there is a double Fairy core here, like I said, with the Coco and the Mega Autono. And just the fact that you're running Coco Lucha with Mega Autono, which is the best cleric in the game, is something to keep in mind, and those three alone will probably carry the team to success.
Yeah. Because you can run so much, like, you got pressure with Halucha, and then, yeah, Halucha gets, like, recovery as Roost and Drain Punch. Most people want to run Drain Punch or High Jump Kick if you want to be risky. And Mega Ardino can just wish past it into literally Halucha and just win the entire game like that.
Agreed. So, Drake, what do you rate this team?
I think this team is like an 8, or definitely 8.5. I think like this team's very, very well made putt, but I think he could be better with his last two picks, in my opinion. But everything else looks amazing, to be honest.
Yeah.
He just has to be worried about those hazards, he said.
Yeah, he has to be worried about the hazards, but the team is so bulky to surround its basically the 3 or 4 only offensive threats on the team that it's gonna be tough to break through the walls, and then when you do, your team is probably already decimated at that point, and Coco Lucha just comes in and sweeps the end of the game. So definitely be wary of that. His team was definitely drafted with a design and purpose. Next, we have the Edmonton Cavaliers. These two teams I had to abbreviate so that they fit in the thing. Their coach is Theodore Manny, or Manny. I don't know how he pronounces that. If he's watching this, I apologize if I pronounce your last name wrong. But their team is Mega Altaria, Clefable, Doug Trio, Alolan Muck, Fortress, Miltank, Musharna, Combuskin, Mandibuzz, Milotic, Rotom Heat, and Lurantis. Drake, what do you think about this team?
Fat, fat with the trio. I think this team is. I'm not gonna lie with you. This team is actually pretty interesting because you have like support mods being Clefable, and then you do have Miltank, you do have Mishana with him and Wish if I recall correctly gets that. Um, he does have a good option of defaulting being Atlantis, Rotom, Mandibuzz, Combustion, Fortress as we rapid spin and Mega Altaria if you want to be that risky with Mega Alt. But I think this team is very well made put because your offensive pressure is Mega Altaria and their trio. And they do like support in Wish and Human Wish. So I think I get the gist of the idea of the team. I love how he got Muck because in my opinion, Muck is probably one of the best answers to Latias. If Latios isn't running off click or Latias isn't running off click, Muck walls it because it takes like 37% AV Muck, which is nothing when you can wish it back up.
Yeah.
This is just, you have to admit, it's pretty fat, but it's actually well made to put together.
Yeah, it's well made. I think it's definitely pseudo stall.
Yeah, for sure.
I was doing some laddering. I've been doing some laddering on Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon recently, just because I've been really in the desire to play one official Pokemon game and just play with people recently. And I'm telling you, Alolan Muck 9 times out of 10 is just an always bring when I run a certain team. Just because once you get like 1 or 2 Pokemon out of the way on people's teams just because they don't prepare for Alolan Muck just sits there and just slowly whittles teams down, especially if you got, you got knockoff, make them weaker. The Mon is just incredibly versatile, and it can even cover its own weaknesses with things like Ice Punch.
Yeah.
So, Alolan Muck is definitely going to be probably one of his biggest kill bringers, even though it's not that scary offensively. Just because its typing is disgusting, and it's got crazy coverage.
It's the best typing. You have to admit, it's one of the best typing they have.
Oh, 100%. It's only weak to ground. The only thing that would be better is if he would have gotten Bulu, because Bulu would basically just shut everything down when it comes to killing an Alolan Muck. Because it's not going to happen. Because Alolan Muck is just incredibly bulky.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you rate this team? Like we said, we didn't really preface this team all that much. Trio, I don't know about Trio as a Z user, but I kind of like it, not gonna lie. I would have probably preferred the Musharna and the Clefable, but that's just me.
I think, like, not even gonna lie with you, he has stack hazards, he has the Fortress, he stack hazards. I think this is like, I'm not to be biased because I love Mega Alt, but I think this team is probably like none, because you can just set up with Mega Alt once everything's whittled down. And Mega Ult isn't going to die from like basically one hit unless you have Z.
Yeah, and not only that, in this league, we did not mention, Mons with Speed Boost can only pass Speed, and then other Mons can pass any combination of stats except for Speed. So like you could like Combuskin couldn't, but you could like. For instance, if something has bulk up, you can bulk up like twice and then baton pass that away. That's just an example. But yeah. So that is something to keep in mind.
I enjoy this team. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the like teams I will watch like every week. When she does his battle, I'm gonna watch it because I really enjoy like the team of it. I really enjoy this team. Like, even though it's fat, I'll admit that I enjoy semi-fat things, like being Muck and being Miltank, because I used those two before, and Mega Ult. I really enjoy this team. This is one of teams I feel like is going to do well.
Yeah, I think people are gonna underestimate how fat this team is, and you're just gonna have to prep because Combuskin. I've used Combuskin in leagues before. It's deceptively fat with a Violite. You think, oh, it's a firefighting type, it's frail as hell. Not when it has a Violite. It's got decent defenses already. So
Yeah,
you just
for sure.
you're gonna have to bring your wall breakers against this team because, like we said, it's pseudo stall with Mega Altaria and Dougie as your main late game win cons.
Yeah.
Your next team, I'm gonna scroll up so you can see, is the Virginia Scissors, and their coach Ace uh, Drake. You can run down this team because I ran down the last two.
Um, his team consists of Mega Aerodactyl, Zygote 50%, Ninja, Kamina, Sharpedo, Volizion, Miss Magus, Malmo, I think that's how you say it, Sizzle, Melotic, not Melotic, oh, that team's going to be disgusting. I don't know how to say it.
Meloetta,
Meloetta, yeah. And then Nidoking and Dub Trio. Not Dub Trio.
Dodrio.
I swear, these names.
It is worth pointing out. I think they weren't really paying attention and drafted Sharpedo. They did trade Sharpedo out for. Let me just look because I forgot off the top of my head. We don't have it wrote down on the doc, so I'm just looking through trades free agency. They traded it for Gardevoir, which is a much better pickup. Gardevoir wasn't drafted before now. That gives him double fairy, double water, which double water isn't that bad. What else does he have? I think that's it for doubles. Double ground, which isn't terrible. Double flying,
which is not terrible. That's what he does.
Yeah, double psychic. I mean, a lot of double typings, but you have to keep in mind this team has bulk. It's incredibly offensive. Never discount Z Greninja. That is Torrent, by the way. So that is something to keep in mind. Mega Arrow is just incredibly fast. You hone claws once with the thing, and it's gonna take lives because that makes your stone edges not guaranteed to hit, but pretty much guaranteed to hit. I think it's like 98% or something like that after you hone claws. You know, it's threatening, and Zygarde 50 is always a threat. You know, Subcoral, D-Dance, Primarina can be deceptively bulky. Like I said, Gardevoir, in my opinion, one of the best Scarfers in the game when he eventually gets Gardevoir. Virizion, interestingly enough, he did not use Virizion as his Zmon. I would have personally preferred Greninja Virizion, but that's just me. Miss Magius is still a good Z user. Magmar is interesting as a fire type, but I see that he wanted to go, Scizor and Meloetta, one of my favorite Pokemon to use in general. It actually is my favorite normal type. Nidoking, I will always and 100% advocate that Nidoking is a better Scarfer and a better Pokemon than Nidoqueen. So right away he's going to have two of the best Scarfers in the game starting week 2 being Gardevoir and Nidoking. So teams are going to have to watch out for that. Drake, anything else you want to add on as far as like weaknesses and stuff or holes that you see?
I think his wall breaker, his best, not shits and giggles right here is Primarina, because Specs Primarina does really not a great switch. If you resist Moonblast, I guarantee you take 30 for no apparent reason. Because I can't think off the top of my head what resist Primarina's full stabs. I guess, what's in the tail, maybe? Nothing. Like Amoonguss, I guess, if it was in there, but Primarina does get psychic. Of course, I'm just talking about off the showdown. I'm shocked that Zygote isn't his Z captain. Because Z Zygote is such a monster to switch into, but I understand why. I feel like people's going to run Choice Golf against him because he has two of the fastest mons being Mega Arrow and Greninja, and being Virizion too. So you can play that against.
Yeah, and I like I said, the things that are going to check, uh, that are gonna check Mega Arrow and Greninja by him choosing Nidoking and then starting week 2 picking up Gardevoir. Those two as Scarfers alone pretty much counteract anything that's Scarfed to counter Mega Arrow and Greninja. Like there are a few crazy Z Crystal sets on Greninja, and Virizion is just a deceptively scary Mon when you underestimate it. Uh, and that's what I would have personally gone with as my Z-Mons, even though, like you said, Zygarde is right there. Um,
No,
and
I
even
understand.
Meloetta there. Meloetta is also a real big threat as a Z-Mon.
No, I understand what you mean by Virizion. Like Virizion is like one of the. I think it's like top tier whatever. It's in like tier 4.
Yeah,
It's
tier
like
4.
up there from the top, man. Because it's such an underrated mon. But when you realize its stats isn't bad. With 129 um, special defense, that's really not bad.
Yeah, it's really not. So, uh, another thing they're gonna have to watch out for, I believe, is hazards. I think their only real reliable hazard removal is Scizor, and you don't necessarily want to have Scizor be your defogger every single week. Uh, so that is something to keep in mind. I think Primarina also gets defog, but eh,
Aerodactyl gets default.
you don't want to
I,
run. You don't.
I know.
You don't want to run
You know,
defog on Mega Arrow. I think this team is still really good. It's definitely way more offensive than some of the other teams we've seen in the past. With the really only bulky mons being Zygarde as a semi bulky thing. Miss Maggie is especially bulky. Primarina is especially bulky. Scizor's bulky just because of its typing, and Meloetta is also somewhat specially bulky as well as just because of its typing. It's bulky. Also, he can catch you off guard with some relic songs, so be careful. The team is going to have to maybe patch some defensive holes,
yeah, for
and
sure.
some hazard holes. But other than that, incredibly offensive. I've drafted teams that are weak to hazards and weak on a defensive side, and they're just so offensive that it doesn't matter. We'll have to see if this is one of those teams.
For sure. Like, I feel like this thing, like, if I can make it like, right now, it's probably like, I want to say, like, on the point of 8.5. Like you said, it needs some more bulk. It needs a little bit more bulk until it can be, like, fully onto it. Like, fully into it.
Agreed. And on to the next team. We have the Boston Red Bulls, coached by Gaxar. I don't know why that jumped down, but that's okay. There you go. And their team is Mega Aggron, Mew, Gliscor, Ninetales, Heliolisk, Araquanid, Drapion, Golurk, Kieran Black, Sylveon, Hitmontop, and Leafeon, with Z Pokemon being Ninetales and Kieran Black. Interestingly enough, I talked with Gaxar about Leafeon, and I love Leafeon. I've used Leafeon in a bunch of leagues as like my cleric and like my physical wall, or one of them, and I love Leafeon, but I told him when he was thinking about Ninetales, because I also love Ninetales and have used Ninetales in a bunch of leagues, that he should go Shiftry, because I've drafted Pseudo Sun before with Ninetales, Megazard Y, Shiftry, and Venusaur as like my Sun abusers, and it was a magical experience. He went with just Leafeon though. He It seems like he wants to go Ninetales as just pure offense, not really setting up the Sun. Even though Leafeon can use the Sun, Heliolisk can even use the Sun if you want to be solar power. Uh, you don't want to run Dry Skin if you're running Ninetales that week. That's for damn sure. Drake, any thoughts?
To be honest, I think I hate this team. Like, even though I drafted. Okay, fun fact: I had this thing before until I dropped. I had Mega Argon, Mew, Driscoll, Arachnid, and Killen Black. And I told Major what was my draft plan. I wanted to get Sylveon, which he did. Which I love Sylveon. Like one of my favorite fairy types in the draft format. But I don't like the idea of Sun because your team's already weak to fire types. Because KD is neutral with fire types. You got Mega Igon that's weak to fire types. Even though it has filter, you ain't gonna take a Fire Blast because of base what 80s for death.
Yeah, I think it's base 80 or base 90, one of the two.
I don't like that idea. I do like Healers as a mon. I think Healers is one of the best mon. I feel like he could have went with Z Mew because Mew can be literally whatever Z you want. Like I understand Z Fire and Z in the Sun, but it's kind of like you basically put the team on its back with Ninetales now. Because I personally do not like Leafeon. I think he could have went with a different pick. I like Joytheon as a dark poison deck. Like I said before, it's one of the best typings. I feel like it's very, very well for his team. I don't understand the Golem pick. I personally don't like Golem because I feel like Golem is still weak to most of the weaknesses that we already have because you have another model that's weak to ice, and then you have another model weak to water.
The bad thing about Ninetales setting up the sun, um, is that you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna increase fire type moves. The good news is he's got Araquanid there, but I don't know if that's enough to stop something in the sun. Araquanid is real bulky, but certain fire types don't even care that Araquanid has water bubble,
Yeah, for sure.
especially if the sun is up.
Like I tell you what, I love Megalodon because I told you I would draft Megalodon because I feel like it's one of the better monster draft in format because I feel like you get your stealth up and it's not really going to die for one hit unless you're really, really special. Oh,
Yeah.
Mew is Mew, Gusco is Gusco. Like you play the roles. I think that I really think if he drafted, like if he dropped Ninjas and gets like something like Dominican and trade his Z user to something like Healers, I feel like that's gonna be much better.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why he went with Ninetales. It's just that with Mega Aggron, I don't think it's the best synergy. Um, and that's fine. We do have Golurk there as an incredible Fizz wall, and then Leafeon if it's not a fire, poison, ice, or flying type. Uh, that's physical. Uh, Leafeon can go in there and eat because it's what base 140 defense, which is just ridiculous. Like 140 defense is ridiculous. It is worth noting. If you think Mega Aggron is a counter for something like Bulu, I had a +4 Mega Aggron on defense. Like it iron defense twice, and I used bulk up 3 times with Tapu Bulu, and I killed it in one superpower. So,
Almost.
if you think
Oh my
it's a
god.
counter to a Bulu that's setting up physically, it's not. It's not a counter to a Bulu that's setting up physically.
Doesn't Heavy Slime blow back a Bulu?
Yeah, it does, but Bulu's faster.
That's too Heavy Slime. He has nine. The thing is with this team, like I feel like he has a very, very like if going off of that, that's like saying, hey, you have a nine tails, but nine tails ain't gonna beat me. No, I get you, Ninja. No, I'm not gonna. I'm just joking around with you right now.
Yeah. So, in terms of like 1 to 10, what do you rate this team? I like this team. I don't think it's the most effective. Trade some things out in free agency, and it'll be a lot better.
Yeah, I think if like right now, it's gonna be like a seven. If he trades out a few things, it would be a lot better. Like he has 20 extra points, which he can upgrade. Like the Leafeon, I'm pretty sure Leafeon's tier what? Tier
It's
five?
tier 5, I believe. It's one of the better tier 5s, though.
Okay. We can defend that when we can defend that later. But yeah, I feel like if you just change it to something like, even if he changed his body type to something else in a different direction, I feel like this team's going to be much better because I don't feel like Sun is a. I feel like you're just trying to beat yourself up when you use Sun.
Yeah.
I mean, next week will explain why because you see the next month explains why Sun is horrible against that team.
Yeah. So next you have Sethi of the Parramatta Poplios. Since you referred to the other team, go ahead and run this team down for us, Drake.
He has Mega Glade, Heatran, Komodo, Wilton Zoro, Ditto, Galissapod, or Galissa God, Ondex, Thunderous Eye, Memo, Togekick, and a Trash Mon.
And a Trashmon. Okay, so first things off, I'm really bad with Ditto. I use Ditto terribly, but I love Ditto in the hands of people who know how to use Ditto. As I feel the same about Komodo. I've had bad experiences with my boy Komodo in Draft League. Komodo is still my second favorite Pokemon, which is saying a lot because Metagross has been my favorite Pokemon for actually forever. Um, so just keep that in mind. Um, he did in his application to be the league. He said Komodo is his favorite Pokemon to use in a non-S tier draft league format. So I know for a fact that even though he has Mega Gallade and Double Fighting is probably the worst typing to double up on, I am expecting him to actually decimate people with Komodo.
I mean, to be honest, Mega Glade and Komodo has two different roles. Because Glade can set up on Sword Sense, but Komodo can hit you by the special side. Get Rocks up, gets DD Dance. Legitimately, I think Komodo is like, even though it dies to any fairy type move, ha ha ha, good meme. But I really, really think Komodo is one of the better picks he has. Like, he has Heatran, he has Z Heatran. Legitimately can just blow back any Mon and deals with any fairy types, unless you're only here inside ground or you have like a ground move, which most fairies does not.
And not to mention, he also has Z Thunderous Eye, which Thundy Eye is already a threat, depending on what the opponent has left, you double dance and you're good. Because it's a prankster, you guarantee that you agility first, essentially. Most people agility first. You agility, nasty plot, and then you have like Z Focus Blast in the back to deal with, something pesky that resists or is immune to your Thunderbolt, and then you just go to town.
I mean, I feel like Z Thunders gets like Focus Blast, Sludge Wave,
Dark Pulse.
Yeah, it legitimately is a good. And like, I think like if he had Thunder T, yeah, that means good Z. This is also amazing Z, like you said, Dual Dance, and he has Memo Swan. Tell me what's the answer for Memo Swan right now besides still stealing and Rotom Lost. I see none.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, Komodo is a threatening Mon in the right hands. Mega Gallade, one of the most threatening Mons. Heatran is always a threat. Mammo's always a threat. Thundy Eye, if you don't prep for it and they whittle you down, is always a threat. Togetic is going to be fat. Golisopod's going to be fat. Zoroark is going to be a threat if you don't predict that the Zoroark is the lead. Because sometimes people don't always lead Zoroark. They have Zoroark there for mind games, and then Zoroark just comes in late game. Ditto is always a counter sweeper.
Yeah. I feel like this is like one of the bad things because he has good stuff like Eagles. He has good monsters in Paddles. But I also feel like he should get like one more mark for Yukon because Zoroark does not get Volt Switch. If he had one more mark for like a Yukon, I feel like you can play Zoroark much better.
Yeah, I mean he does have the Rotom which Volt Switch is. But it's like you said on the U-turn. I don't really know what's in tier 5 that's a good U-tuner. U-turner? The the dugong wasn't necessary. He already has a water type. He already has an ice type. I see what he was going there with extra bulk, but I don't know if he needs it.
Probably thick fat user because you want just another thick fat user
Oh,
besides
that's true.
Memo.
It's true.
I mean, I understand, like, he has great, like, Onyx is actually a threat. I'm not gonna lie with you. If you ever played Little Cup, Onyx is one of the most frustrating ones because it can run, like, weakness,
Weakness
weak armor
policy.
and get +2 speed. Literally, Onyx outspeeds a lot of mons without you realizing it.
Yeah, Onyx is actually deceptively fast. I remember playing Pokemon Stadium and Onyx outspeeding a Gloom. Onyx outsped a Poliwhirl and a Poliwrath. Uh, Onyx actually outspeeds some threatening water types. In terms of like what they can do, attack wise, there's a reason they're so low. Like some of my favorite Pokemon to use, especially in Trick Room, that are that low on the tier. Golisopod, which he has. Kingler. Kingler is, oh my god. Don't even get me started on Kingler on a Trick Room
Krina's
team.
broken. I don't care what people say. Krina's broken as fuck. I don't care.
But yeah, so like, I like this team. Don't think it's the best by any stretch of the imagination, but it's gonna take lives just with some of the Pokemon that's on it. What do you rate this team, Drake?
I ranked it like 7.5. Like there's obviously things like you can trade up if you go and get something better. But I think overall this team is very threatening. I think he has some things he needs to patch. I really love Mamoswine, Heatran, and Galate. I think that's his most offensive besides Komodo. Then it's odd. He has the defensive calls. But I feel like he needs something bad besides Dumont.
That's fair. Um, and that's understandable. Um, so our next team that we have is Magic Machine Gun. On here, I just shortened his name. Uh, and the Vancouver Kyogres. His team being Megalotti, Jirachi, Scolipede, Umbreon, Ribombee, Hitmonlee, Braviary, Lantern, Terrakion, Delmise, Lanoon, and Almastar, with his Z Pokemon being Scolipede and Terrakion. I like both of those as Z-Mons. I don't know what I would choose. Maybe honestly, maybe not Scolipede. I might go with Jirachi or Ribombee, but that's just personal for me. Drake, give us a little more insight onto this team.
I like Larios. I used Larios before. I feel Larios is one of the best megas in the draft format. But like I said before, Muck is a straight up answer to it. Scolipede and Jirachi is interesting because I don't expect them. I don't like Jirachi on this team for a few different reasons. It's because one, I guess you can say he's dark weak, but he's kind of dark weak. He's kind of off quick switchings or like 1, 2, I guess 4, 5 months are off quick, so I won't say much about that. But I feel like he didn't need Hitmonlee because Hitmonlee does, like, you have a Terrakion that does the job much better than Hitmonlee.
Yeah, another thing to keep in mind is there is no ground type. There is no, other than one Pokemon, there is no ground immunity, or no electric immunity on this team.
Yeah, Venton, but like if you have Ventos that, his like grass answers are like kind of non-existent because you can just put a grass move against his team. Even Delmise, I would say Delmise is like kind of great answer, but it could run Flamethrower. We don't know what kind of mod it could run Impact Fire on it. So yeah.
Yeah, especially if Tangrowth, because Tangrowth is probably
Bulky.
Tangrowth is bulky, but it's probably my favorite grass type to use in draft format. Tied with probably tied with probably Kartana and Ferrothorn. Uh,
Have you ever used Serena?
I have not used Serena. Every time I go to draft Serena in a draft league, it gets sniped from me, and I have to settle for like Victory Bell or some shit.
It's such a good mod. Like I feel like I like this thing. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea of reps on this team, but like I don't. His thing is kind of weird to me. Like I have mixed feelings because I feel like he got something there besides Almond Stall because Almond Stall is right there. I guess because he wants Hazards, but Almond Stall isn't like the fastest thing.
Agreed.
And I would have like got a ground type I would have probably got something like Groudon, maybe Gligar for a ground type.
Yeah.
No, he probably should drop Bravery. Not like he should, but ideally he could drop Bravery and get Gligar if Gligar's still around because
I do believe Gligar is still around.
Because that's like it gives him a little bit more bulk by understand. Bravery is like a wall breaker because you can run Choice Fall, obviously.
Yeah.
This team is probably I don't know. Let me think.
I do indeed like the Umbreon on this team. Umbreon, just by being Umbreon, kind of patches some of the holes, just because it's so incredibly stupidly bulky.
Can we just talk about this? He has 2 fucking wish passes. And Jirachi and Umbreon. My score is probably high now because I just realized that.
Yeah,
and
he does. On top of that, I think, like you said, I understand why he chose the Braviary. Gives him a ground immunity, which he desperately needed. The Hitmonlee, like you said, is not a Pokemon I would be there. I see why he did it. It gives him a Sucker Punch user.
And Muzo too. I think he gets spin.
I don't know if it gets spin. I think it does. I think
I have it open.
I think Lee and Top both get spin, but I can't remember if Lee does. I know that Top does because Top is the best spinner in the game, and I will fight people on that.
I think it does because I drafted that. It does get rapid spin, so he does have a rapid spin user.
He does, but it's not. I don't know if it's necessary. Like you said, you could go into Gligar. Gligar is infinitely better against Defog. If you want to keep Hitmonlee, you can keep Hitmonlee. That's fine. I don't really know. Other than Lantern and Almastar are both not the best water types. Personally, I would drop Hitmonlee. Drop Braviary. I'd pick up Gligar, and then I'd pick up some sort of water type that's in tier 4 that I can't think of off the top of my head. Maybe if he didn't already have double psychic, I would recommend Bruxish, drop the Almastar for something. Yeah, I don't know. This team is odd, but it has threats, and like you said, the double clerics is.
I feel like he has 2 stealth buff users. I guess you can count Almastar, but really, like, you can't rely on Almastar all the time. Yes, there's Jirachi, but Jirachi being stealth buff users and Almastar, just those 2. I feel like you didn't get, like, I always get 4 stealth buff users because that's my popular preference. Because I want every week to have a different stealth buff user and no one can guess it. I feel like Tracheon's never going to run stealth buff. Jirachi maybe, Almastar yeah. But that's how I feel. I feel like if you got Gligar over Bravery, he would have a great pivot mom.
Yeah.
And he gets another good default goal. But, it's a wall breaker. I think this team is probably like a solid 8.5. But there's a lot of things he could do there, but I want to see how he does.
Yeah. Also, it is to keep in mind, Dhelmise does get rapid spin as well. But the bad thing about Dhelmise is, even though it's a ghost type, it gets spin trapped. So...
that's kind of like
I've had very bad. I didn't know until I drafted this team and someone did it to me. I didn't know how bad it felt to be spin trapped and not prep an answer for a ghost type on your spinner.
It's
it feels
hard.
really bad. It feels really bad because I could have came back in the game had I just every turn I rapid spinned used dark pulse because I would have killed the ghost type in 2 dark pulses. Um, but I used rapid spin because I needed to get rid of the rocks because the rest of my team in the back was weak to rocks. Um, but yeah. So next team, uh, the next team. Uh, did you read the last one or did I read the last one? I think you read the last one.
I did the last. No, I think he did it. And
Oh,
I
okay.
talked about it.
Our next team is the Philadelphia Pharaohs. I shorted it to Philly because, um, I mean, I could have put a Y there because I know that Philly's typically associated with a Y, but whatever. And their coach is Almirola. Uh, this team, Drake, you can read through it. I just want to say, this team I would not want to face if I were coach.
Okay, there's like some facts and there's some ones we had to discuss about. Megavideo, Katana, Volcanion, um, Galvantula, Metamagos, that's aka Major, Shuckle, Pesego, Agon. Just want to make like clear, Agon. That's Tyrannoton, Alumin, Malak, and Gyarados and Rakon. I don't like this team. Like I'll be honest, I like you know what I like Vija, I like Katana, Volcanion, Galvantula, Magos, Tyrannoton. I love the offensive of the Gyarados. Wait, he didn't pick his Z?
He did not pick his Zmon yet. There are still people yet to choose their Z Pokemon. Um,
Like,
they have a deadline of Wednesday, so
can I choose it? They don't choose it because I'm a big Z Katana and Z. I'm trying to.
unfortunately you can't choose for other coaches.
And
But yeah, as you can clearly see, this team has defensive answers. It's incredibly offensive. This is definitely Pseudo Saiyan with web support.
like I'm fine. Like Sen is okay. I get he could run Sen, but he could run like a null. I don't know why, but he didn't run a null. He didn't feel like it. I feel like I don't like Sen. I'm a player who hates Sen and Sugar. I feel like those two are bad with each other. I hate Rebel, obviously. I like semi-Rebel. I like kind of semi-Rain, but I hate every other Rebel.
Yeah.
So I feel like he has an amazing job. Like he has a semi-amazing job because the circle gives you spikes and spikes, which people keep forgetting about that. It's a faster mod
Pretty
than
much
Coco.
everything.
Yeah, like legitimate. It has B drill, which is literally faster than most mods. And you have to run choice call against his team, in my opinion, because he has B drill and circle. He can have a katana that's like timid to have get these speed boosts from beast boosts, which is actually really incredible. Um, I guess I feel like he needs a better answer to file besides Volcanion and then besides Trinitor. I mean, you can debate about Marowak, you can debate about Gyarados, you can debate of all of them, but I don't see that as a fire answer because most fire types, like Infinite or like Incineroar, gets a fire type move.
I think the reason I would be scared of this team is because this is one of the teams that takes like 6 to 10 turns to set up. Because, like you said, you got the spikes, you got the T spikes, you have plenty of rockers, and then you have obvious, clear. There are two, I think, because I'm pretty sure it's Selgar. But Galvantula and Shuckle spider webs. Just drop that shit down. It's just gonna cripple your Pokemon. You have Alola Marowak there for the spin trapping. Gyarados, offensive sweeper. Mega B, the best, if not, or one of the best, if not the best revenge killers in the game with that Fell Stinger. Kartana, just it's incredible. The one thing I want to say that I hate not only is it on the dock, but because they're on the same team, is my favorite Pokemon and my least favorite Pokemon are in the same fucking shit on the same fucking team. Pardon my language, but like, God, I hate Shuckle. I hate Shuckle so much. Why did he have to draft my baby boy and the fucking bane of my existence?
Yeah, because like, okay, so Magloss can sweep. If you have never did this, I think you have did this before. You can sweep with Magloss. You know that, right? With Rebs. Like,
yeah.
That's gonna be amazing. Like, I really like. This is the other team I'm looking forward to, because there's only like 2 teams. I'm like 3 teams off the bat. I'm looking forward. Which was it? I don't know. I think it was the Mega Ontario one, the BJ one, and the Latios. Is the things I'm going to look forward to. But there's a lot of weaknesses you could patch up. Not going to say Rapongo's is the best mon, St. Louis, but
But yeah, I think I understand where your concerns are. I still think with just what this team is doing and the fact that it takes a little bit to set up and it's a little gimmicky, but I think the gimmick with what they've drafted is strong enough to just be absolutely scary. And you're going to have to spend probably an extra half an hour prepping for this team just because you don't know if they're just not going to bring their setup that's gonna cripple you, or if they're just gonna go like all out attack. You're not entirely sure what they're gonna do.
Like, I give this obviously like a 7.5. I feel like you're right because they're prepping them. I feel like Volcanion can just basically click buttons and do inspects with webs. That's also another thing that I get. Tyrannosaur just has to step 1D deaths with webs up and sweep an entire team.
Agreed. And you could even just run the defensive T-Tar that's just AV, because AV T-Tar is God. Don't even get me started on AV T-Tar. I don't want to. Just click X. Click X. Just concede. Like, AV T-Tar is absolutely stupid. But yeah. So with that, we are going to go into the next team, and I actually really, really like this team. I don't think it's the best, but we have Leo, aka Infernapes, of the Chicago Infernapes, and his team is Mega Sharpedo, Celesteela, Hydreigon Arcanine, Donphan, Mesprit, Seismitoad, Hitmonchan, Reuniclus, Jolteon, Steelix, and Superior, with Zmons being Celesteela and Superior. I like both of those as Zmons. I like Superior as a Zmon, but I would have at least considered Arcanine, Mesprit, and Reuniclus.
He dropped Mesprit, really.
Yeah, he did drop the Mesprit. What did he drop it for? I'm not going to pull it up on video.
Slow.
What did he drop it for?
Slowpoke. With sticky webs used though. Ooh.
Okay. Gotcha.
Which I feel like best team. Also, about the rules about the Sharpedo, he doesn't have to Mega Force on. He can Mega Second on, which is kind of the same. So he can get speed.
Yeah, so he's pretty much always going to be bringing Protect. A move that I don't see get used often just because the Mons that have access to it probably need other moves. But like he can catch someone off guard with Psychic Fangs, which is probably one of my favorite moves because it's like base like 85 or something like that.
Seriously, 85, and it breaks like light screens and shit like that.
Yeah, it's a real good move. But 9 times out of 10 he's probably gonna be just because unfortunately Sharpedo and Mega Sharpedo are kind of one-dimensional. He's probably gonna be bringing Protect, Ice Fang, Waterfall, and Crunch.
You mean Liquidation because it's much.
Oh yeah, Liquidation. That's right. I forgot he got Liquidation. Shit.
Oh, good. I just remind people because Sharpedo is one of my favorite Megas to use in Yu-Gi-Oh! So yeah, I feel like his team is interesting. I don't like Seismitoad and Donphan because 2 typings. I don't feel like he needs I feel like he didn't need Seismic Mode. He could have went with a different water type. I understand why he dropped Mesh Whip because Mesh Whip didn't give him. He didn't have a fairy type, so he'd rather get a fairy type, which, like, Slowpoke isn't something to laugh at. Because you can run a defensive Slowpoke, you can run a Boden Slowpoke, you can run Rev Slowpoke. It's like, he literally is a great thing.
You could just run the typical belly drum Surpluff.
Yeah. You can run Calm Mind Slowpoke. And, like, rest, and you can have Chester.
Yeah.
That's your death. Yeah, Superior, I don't want, like, I'm just going to put this out. Don't bring Rebs against his team because he has a Superior and you don't want to be reverse swept by it.
Yeah, because Superior will be like, hey, I'm here now. And now I'm just going to click, probably not, Z, whatchamacallit, I can't think of the move off the top of my head. The grass move that makes Superior go +2.
Leaf
Shit.
Storm.
Leaf Storm, thank you. I don't know why I totally brain farted. He's probably not gonna do that. He might bring some cute, like, other Z moves, like, Dragonium Z, which is like, goodbye. Yeah. So, like...
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like, yeah, it's... Superior is like... You don't want to do that. That's reverse sweep incoming. Don't bring webs against this team.
He has a fast team, but also I kind of don't like. I mix with. I understand Steelers as Z, but I have an experience about Superior as Z. I feel like Hydrangea's is probably a little bit better, or you want Arcanine to be a Z user, but that's my opinion because. Superior can potentially, I've seen this before, someone named T-Train, one of the best draft players, but he's retired, run Z Superior with Alcatel to kill Arcanine. He got +1 from that, so that was actually really cool.
Yeah, so another thing that is to keep in mind, though, is that Celesteela is just the single most annoying Pokemon to deal with. Just... Not even draft league, like, just laddering. So, like, you just gotta keep that in mind. Like you said, I understand why he did the Mesprit, gave him another ground immunity, because he's got Celesteela and Hydreigon, that helps the Arcanine out, because typically what cripple the Arcanine and the Jolteon out, the Celesteela has plenty of support in terms of resistances, being the Steelix, the Seismitoad, since he still has it. On the fire type side, there's Arcanine, because if you're running Volcanine, Hydreigon isn't bulky, but that's a resisted hit. Seismitoad resists that really, really well. I would like to see him pick up maybe a better fire type resistance.
No, he has Arcanine, Flash Fire.
Yeah. I mean, that is an immunity, but I really, really enjoy, especially against certain teams, running Intimidate Arcanine.
It depends how you want it, because sometimes, like, Flash Fire is much better, sometimes Intimidate is much better.
But yeah, I like this team. What do you rate this?
I rate this probably like 9. It's really high up there for me because he told me when he was drafted, he told me what picks, and like I see where he wanted to go. I feel like he didn't need an extra steel type in Steelix, but I see why, because he does he has a lot of rocks, so he can rock on literally every different one, and then going to space back like a different one. Like even Dolphin, fun fact, I ran an offensive Dolphin with Choice Madden. That thing kills anything that you want because it's so bulky. Its speed is like 50, but it's so what?
Let me tell you,
his team is kind of slow.
Go ahead.
His team is kind of slow, but with like more like Hydreigon getting Tailwind, so still get Tomize, make a Sharpedo, you got Superior. And now you get Slowpoke, it's kind of balanced out with the team.
Yeah, and I know how big a threat Donphan can be. I've never actually drafted it. I've wanted to a couple of times. It just hasn't fallen my way. Um, I had Mega Main in a league, and someone ran AV Donphan, not invested, and it lived on like 10%. And I was really heartbroken because on that team, Mega Main, what he brought ran through everything with a combination of HP Ice, Thunderbolt, and Flamethrower. Those were literally the three moves that ran through the entire team, and I was like, okay, I could kill this Donphan as long as he's not AV, and he was AV, and it made me really, really sad. But yeah. So we gonna move on to the next team. Drake, if you want to go ahead and do the honors for the St. James Slowbros and their coach Jason Gallade.
I'll go through it. He has Mega, Lopan, Infinite, Togekiss, Rosalith, and Poleon, the best default, Poison, Aluminum, Power Swine, Zangoose, Lucky Oats, Electrify, Gengar, and like delicious. I know he dropped the Infonate just to piss off Leo, because let me tell you a story about Infonate when JC had it. He ran max HP, max defense, bold nature against Leo, and he lived every fucking hit like Leo could like throw at. It's disgusting. But I feel like this team is well around. If he didn't have Infinite, like I feel like he could get a different like fire type. Like there's like mons like Victini out there. It's like Victini's still out there. If you didn't know that.
Yeah, I do know that because, spoiler alert for those of you that are watching, there is an exhibition match in the postseason between one of the teams that doesn't make playoffs and myself. They have to prep versus all of the undrafted Pokemon because I get to choose a team out of the undrafted Pokemon.
Yeah, it's very scary. Like I like Mega Lopunny. I think Mega Lopunny is the like very offensive mod. Like you click Power Punch, you click Fake Out, you click U-Turn. That's all you need because it literally hits everything unless your name is Carl Rodriguez. That stops which most people will prep for it. You have Togekiss, Defogo, one of the. It's an interesting mon. It's a support mon that gets Wish. I think it gets Wish. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it gets Wish. All of the Togekiss line gets Wish.
This makes sense. Roserade is actually a fantastic mon to stack hazards, which I really love with this team because you want Mega Lopunny to basically pick up everything else. Like just a late game sweep ball, anything like that. You have yourself a opponent, a good default or a good set like user. You can just go and watch Lord Envy of what he did with Napoleon. This man just did everything with it. Poison, I love Poison. Like Poison's one of my favorite mons to draft because it's faster than Mighty Oats and Mighty Ass. And you really don't want this mon against you if you have Lucky Oats because most of the time, if you run Calm Mind, +2 Calm Mind, a punishment from a lower Poison kills him. Yeah. Punishment kills the Lucky Oats. So.
Yeah. And it is worth noting that, as you see on your screen, Infernape and Latios are the Z-Mons. I really, really like the Z-Mons. I don't know if I would have ran... I mean, I understand why it's there, but just... I wasn't, like, super big on Infernape as a Z user just because I really, really liked AV Nape. I really, really like Banded and Specs Nape, as well as Life Orb Nape. And my eyes were opened, a couple of leagues ago with Z Infernape. I ran Nasty Z Nape and it absolutely demolished. So my eyes are open. I liking that Infernape is his Z user as it should be. I don't know what I would choose as my Z user as Latios. Something that I like to do with Electivire or Motor Drive is actually run Cell Battery to get that extra attack when you swap in on an electric type, and then you just go to town because you're +1 speed, +1 attack. Um, I don't know. I think Latios was probably his best option in terms of a Zmon. Maybe
I
Togekiss or Persian. Um, but
yeah, PlayStation.
I like the Zangoose, though. The Zangoose is nice. Toxic Orb Zangoose is nothing to slouch on. Because Toxic
Yeah.
Boost is a threat.
Also, I feel like Gengar could be a better Z user, in my opinion, instead of Infinite. But you always said why Infinite should be. I very love Infinite by Z. I will always just draft Infinite before a long time ago and always see it. I don't like Slife though, but I guess it's just there for I don't know for speed because it does get base 105. I want to say
Yeah.
like it's nothing like too like it's nothing like wow. But I really love this team. I think this team is one of the better teams because he has so much options to get remove hazards and can have hazards and can stack hazards, which I love. Has a nice poison type. Um, his team has to be worried about something like I guess setup mons kind of
Yeah.
because like
While they have defensive Mons, other than Alolan Persian with Fur Coat, uh, you don't really have a defensive Mon. Like Piloswine is there with a Violite Togekiss on the special defensive side and Polion on the physical defensive side, but all in all, this team is pretty frail. I mean, I know Latios is also pretty bulky, especially, but it's not Latias, so it's not as revered for its bulkiness.
yeah. And then you have Mega Lopunny, which is frail, which dies by Mach Punch from anything that has quality. So I understand why he got Infinite now because he didn't want Mach Punch against Lopunny, which is actually a smart idea, but you can't draft all the Mach Punch users. Like Hitmonlee gets Mach Punch, it can one shot a Lopunny, which is actually scary.
Yeah, I mean, Hitmonchan, the only reason Hitmonchan is bad is because, yes, it has Iron Fist, but it doesn't get Sucker Punch. Game Freak, why doesn't it get Sucker Punch?
It gets full of
Sorry, I had to, like, I know it gets Bullet Punch, but honestly, Hitmonchan would be so much better if it got Sucker Punch, because I would run Mach Punch, Bullet Punch, Sucker Punch, Ice Punch, Hitmonchan. Just always go first, and then if it's a flying type, you're like, oh shit, Ice Punch. And then you run, like, a flying type berry, for instance. Hitmonchan would probably actually be your tier 3 if it got Sucker Punch alone.
Hitmonlee does get Sucker Punch.
Or not Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan. I was
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at Hitmonchan and didn't say Hitmonlee. And said Hitmonlee instead of Hitmonchan. But yeah, I like this team. Is there anything else you have to say before we rate this team?
I feel like if I had to change one thing, it would be Scyther, and that's like everything else. I mean, I use Scyther in whatever tier it is now. I think it's NU now. I used that before. I used Soul Stance Barrier, and it's bulky. I will admit it. It's very, very bulky with Everlight. It's hard to kill, even though it's four times weak to a rock move. It's still kind of bulky. I would defend that. He has great answers to ghost types, being Alolan Potion and Mega Lopunny, which is actually fantastic for Laios. I feel like you have to scoff something against it. I feel like I can say this about every team, but I really feel like this team you have to scoff something because Laios, Gengar, Slifer, Alolan Potion, Infinite, Mega Lopunny. Those are fast speed teams, which is actually phenomenal in draft. And prior to say this, I would give him going to give him a 9.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That team is good. We've already discussed, like, yeah, they have some defensive options, but setup mons, once there's certain Pokemon are whittled down, are definitely going to be a threat. So, next team, we have Pokecrafter of the main Milotics. His team being Mega Scizor, Landorus Therian, Raikou, Kyurem, Incineroar, Cofagrigus, Ambipom, Malamar, Tapu Fini, Conkeldurr, Vikavolt, and Ferroseed with Lando T and Kyurem, normal Kyurem, as his Z users. I'm just going to start off by saying he drafted my girl Tapu Fini. You guys probably know on the channel now enough that Tapu Fini is my go-to fairy in Draft League. I actually have quite a few times drafted at round 1, because it's typically a late round 1, early round 2 Pokemon. And I will fight people. I know you were memeing earlier, at least somewhat, about Empoleon previously on the last team,
yeah.
but Tapu Fini is 100% the best defogger in the game. The only person I will let you argue close to that is Mega Scizor or Normal Scizor.
Okay, I can go with Empoleon all day because Empoleon uses the 2 stabs of Finny. So basically, default rocks.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just let's not talk about that in general. Finny is the best defogger just because Empoleon is weak to spikes. If they've triple stacked spikes, you're not bringing in your Empoleon to defog.
What? They're not gonna freaking Finny too. But you right, Finny.
The point being, is that this team is incredibly offensive, has incredible defensive capabilities. With Ferroseed, a Violite, that's nothing to slouch on. Conk is just a beefy HP wall. Cofagrigus is a beefy defense wall. I like Kyurem as a Z user. I would have personally not used Lando T as my Z user. I would have used Raikou instead. But that's fine. Finny, do not ever slouch on full defensive Finny. Full defensive Finny can live depending on if it's adamant or jolly or timid or modest, can live shit from a Kyurem Black. Full defensive Finny will do that. I've done it before.
Oh, I know. I've done that before. Like, I legitimately saw that before. I've seen the game, so that I'm not going to shit on you for that. I just have a different opinion of it.
Yeah, that's fine. So I really, really like this team. I like Ambipom. I've wanted to draft Ambipom a bunch of times, but once again, it just never comes to. I like Raikou, but ever since Gen 7 came around, it no longer has, Volt Absorb.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit worse. And me personally, I would actually have, I understand why he did it, it's faster. But I would have actually drafted, at least me personally, I would have drafted the man, the myth, the Ultra Beast, Xurkitree.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I love Xurkitree, but its speed is kind of bad, but
its speed is bad, but it's still a threat. Like, I actually really, really love running AV Zerk. And also, if you would have drafted Xurkitree, I would have been like, yo, what are you doing with Lando T? Z Xurkitree is just like the best thing.
it really is. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I use the Xurkitree before. I'm impressed by it. I'm very impressed by it of what it can do.
Yeah, Z Xurkitree is a threat. Like, as long as you got plenty of ground type swap ins, which he does. He has plenty of ground type swap ins. Being Vikavolt with Levitate, being Conk is just going to eat that up. Cofagrigus is just going to eat that up. Lando T is completely immune to and just shits on Earthquake users because of that Intimidate. Mega Scizor, even though it's not really super defensive, it's going to eat that up because it's neutral, and it just, by virtue of it being a bug type versus something that's using Earthquake, unless it's like a fire type, it literally doesn't care. So yeah, I like this team. I think it's really good. I really, really like Kyurem as a Z user because Z Dracos and Z Ice Beams are not anything to fuck with.
Yeah, for sure. You can run like Ironhead Z, Ironhead Z, Singular Beam Z, like Psychium Z, and it does get like great coverage moves.
Yeah, so I like it. Speed tiers are a little wonky. there is pseudo Trick Room potential. Malamar in Trick Room is a threat. Vikavolt in Trick Room is obviously a threat. Incineroar is also a big threat in Trick Room. Another thing to keep in mind, as we said before with Superior, you do not want to bring webs against this team because he's going to go into Malamar and reverse sweep you. Especially with that team. That team quite literally has nothing that can deal with a Malamar that has been boosted off of webs, because it's actually faster than everything, except for maybe Mega B, but it's faster than everything else once it's +1.
Oh, of that team. No, I said it was outspeeds at that one. I know I said outspeeds Malamar.
That's +1?
Like,
I don't know about +1.
Let's see.
I know it's close. I know it's close on a Selgor. I know that Mega B outspeeds it if it's +1. But the point being is that if Malamar gets to +1 defense, or +2 defense off a superpower, even a Mega B is not gonna one-shot. Is not gonna one-shot it if it's, like, let's say it's full defense invested, full special defense invested, like.
I'll copy you the one.
I know it's close. But my point being, Malamar, you do not want to bring webs against this team, even though its speed tier is already wonky. You don't want to do it just because Malamar fits that so well. Also, don't rely on priority, because Finny is there, and Finny's just gonna shit on your priority, because that's just what she does. So yeah, anything else you want to say about this team, Drake?
I do not like this team. There's a reason why. I do not like Finny with a dragon type that's on the ground. I prefer a dragon type that's floating or has the flying ability, because now your Dracos are going to do less against a dragon type. Yeah. Yes, you have ice beam, but there's things like Kim. There's one that also has a double type that can resist ice type.
But Drake, you've known me long enough to know that I really, really love, Finny with Flygon, Finny with Dragonite, Finny with Salamence. Interestingly enough, Dragonite and Salamence are both not drafted. Fun fact.
Yeah. I feel like if he would have gotten with a different team, even though you have Salamence, if he drafted like Salamence with this team, I see it like doing much more work, because Finny obviously will help it, because right now, like I said, Draco versus Draco, Kim can take one, but if Kim gets that minus special attack, you realize that it's going to get a setup option, and your opponent has to set up on it. I do not like Fallacy and Mega Sizzle. I think those are bad. Not like bad as like horrible Mars, but I think it's bad typings to have on the same team, because HP Fire on Sizzle, HP Fire Fairphone, HP Fire Vikavolt, HP Fire on Kim, and then your really best resistance is Incineroar and Finny. I won't say Conqueror because base 45, but Death is not a great answer.
It's not, but I also want to say, do not sleep on AV Conk. AV Conk can put in work. It already has high as shit HP, so even though it only has 45 Spadef, it still can live, depending on the Pokemon, a non-stab super effective hit without AV.
AV Conk can live an L-Slash from a Megazord Y?
Yeah.
Just because of the bulky of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good. I love Conk. Don't get me wrong. Conk is one of my favorite fighting things, but I feel like this team is like, I don't like Fallacy. I think he should have won with something else, but I understand he likes Bellthorn and he likes Hazards, but that's still like his team is kind of like slow. Like Cofagrius doesn't like taunt. Malamar doesn't like taunt if you want to set Trick Room. Finny doesn't like taunt. and big role in Thursday.
Finny may not like taunt, but the good thing to know is that Finny can counter taunt. I will always and say this forever. Not only I believe is Finny the best defogger, but I also believe Finny is the best taunter.
I don't think that because it's slow. Like in Space 85, okay, don't get me wrong. Space 85 is amazing speed, but there's mons that outpace.
I mean that's true. But it just Drake, you know, you've seen me use Finny enough. You
Yeah,
know
I
that
see
I'm
you.
really good
But
with Finny, and it's probably just only because of that I think
I'm,
Finny is the best taunter.
I'm trying not to be biased right here. So you won't be biased about Baby.
Listen, it's not my fault. I love Finny, okay? Finny is my third favorite legendary for a reason, behind only Deoxys and Victini.
Oh, so we're not gonna see Nihilego anymore. That's you, right?
Nihiligo is not a legendary technically. Um,
Huh? Yeah, it is.
but no, it's not. It doesn't have the stats
Yeah.
of legendary. It's a mythic. Um,
Huh?
it doesn't.
Huh? That's the
No,
thing.
it
That's
doesn't.
the
It
thing.
doesn't. It
Yeah.
has like Ultra Beasts have like 570. Um, so yeah. Without getting
Much
distracted,
off.
I think just because I know how much Pokey puts time into prep, I still think even though his speed tiers are wonky, he'll be able to pull some crazy shit out. Uh, even
I mean,
even
like,
he last night, I think when we were talking a little bit, said his speed tiers were a little wonky. So he acknowledges that, and I expect him to prep well around that.
oh. So can I give my rating?
Yes, you can.
7.
That's fine. It's fine.
Like, okay, I'll give like, if people want to know why I give this team a 7, and when you look at a team like Mega B and I gave it a little bit like lower or high school level, you can quote me in the comment section. I'll look back on this video one day. The reason why I don't like this team is you relying on Trick Room, which Trick Room isn't like the best in draft format. There's a lot of people who's gonna argue with you on that. I feel like this team, like you said they prep, right? I can go to Leo and I saw his prep in a different league, and his prep is above most people. I can go with Jason and his prep is above everyone else. Everyone has their own prep, but I don't feel like Poke is the best prepper. I feel like he's one of the worst preppers. That's my opinion right now. I feel like I feel like U Major has a lot of good prep. I feel like you know a lot about Mons. It's just like when you battle, you're kind of bad at it. Like, not too hard. So
I won't
I
say
feel,
I'm bad. I just drop my spaghetti everywhere.
yeah. Like, I seen Ace battle with a wonky team, and he made the best out of it.
Um,
Um,
I understand why you're getting that. I don't think this team is fully Trick Room dependent. It has I would say it's pseudo Trick Room just because
yeah.
its speed tiers are wonky. If he's not running Kiram as a Zmon, which I think it's one of the most underrated Zmons, he could run Scarf Kiram as a threat. And then Ambi Palm is just an annoying
Yeah.
piece of shit. Like if you've ever, and same thing with Lando T. I think it's vice versa. Not necessarily because a lot of people like Rocky Helmet Lando T. Um,
Then you got Lapos and you got Z. Yeah, it's like Lando. I won't lie to you. It's a versatile mon, but like every set has been made from Lando.
yeah,
It's like you can say it's a standard set. Whatever you make, it's a standard thing. Like nothing is like something different.
yeah.
But like I said, Cam and Benny, I don't think that's a good pairing. But I love Cam. Cam is one of those mons that I will always draft. If I can draft Cam, I'll draft it. I don't care which form it is. I will draft it. I love Incineroar. That's one of my most favorite mons in Gen 7, besides Ultra Beast and besides the Finnies and the not Finnies, Tappies. Do I think this team can make playoffs? Yeah, I think this team can make playoffs if he does like a different prep than he has been doing when he has been showing me.
That's fine. So yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're on to the final team, and this is XX Snake of the Seattle Mariners. Uh,
Can
go ahead,
this
go
question?
ahead and run down the team. You can ask your question. Yes,
How many draft leagues has Snake been in? Like,
I'm
how many?
not entirely sure. I don't remember off the top of my
Uh,
head.
so I would say this: he has Megazord X, Taunty, Alolan Ninetales, Nidoqueen, Alolan Raichu A, Sense A, Absol Tango, Heracross, Snorlax, Just Snow. I'm not going to say anything about this. This team is one of my favorite teams. You can fight me for that, but you know why, Major. You see why.
Yeah, the not only uh, he kind of I don't know if Shadow was planning on drafting this, but he kind of sniped the Alolan Raichu away from Shadow, and then he's running pseudo Hail with a little Ninetales, which is always just going to be Snow Warning because it's just the better ability of the two it has. Just like Drought is the better ability of the two that normal Ninetales has. And then he
Yeah.
drafted that Alolan Sandslash, so that's gonna hurt a lot in the hail. The Megazord is always a threat. Z Torn T is always a threat. Um, I don't know about the Alolan Ninetales being a Z Pokemon. I probably personally would have chosen like Heracross, but that's just me.
No, please, no. Hellcat needs that Flame Over, he needs that Swords Dance, needs Moxie. I mean, I guess you can beat that, but
Or
I
or even the Alolan
oh,
Raichu as a Zmon, because Alolan Raichu really isn't going to be doing a bunch of damage unless you're Specs.
for sure. Or Rifle, for sure. I love his regen core. I think this is one of the best regen cores I've seen.
Agreed.
Taunty, Alomola, Tango. He has bulk and he has the offensive plus. He has toxic spikes, he has stuff. Prior to say this is like not to be biased or anything. I think I don't know how much he drafts. That's why I asked because I think this was a well-made draft. I understand that Nolan Raichu because he kind of needed an electric type and he needed a good psychic type. And
Yeah.
Nolan Raichu was right. Sorry if I interrupt you.
No. The one thing I do question on this team, though, like I think everything here makes sense. Um, like I said, I will 100% fight people on the fact that I think that Nidoking is better than Nidoqueen, but Nidoqueen specifically fit this team better as it's a little bit more bulky and hits a little less hard. Um, Another
Yeah.
thing, the big thing that I'm questioning is even though I like this Pokemon, is the Dusknoir. When Dusclops was on the board, I think it would have made more sense to pick up Dusclops. While yes, it makes him prone to things like knockoff, certain Pokemon don't care about knockoff like anything that's a Z Pokemon or Megazord. They do not care. They do not care about knockoff because it doesn't matter to them. Certain Pokemon don't really need items like Tangrowth. Um,
Heracross.
yeah,
It depends on Heracross.
yeah, it depends on the Heracross whether it worries about its item. Um,
Because Absol gets justified and then gets +1.
yeah, and Absol doesn't care. It depends. Like I said, I think it would have made a lot more sense for him to go with Dusclops because it is quite a bit bulkier than Dusknoir. It hits a little less hard, but if you're running Dusclops, you're not really worried about hitting hard. You're typically worried about like Toxic and then like Protect and Pain Split stalling. Is typically how I run my Dusclopses with like knockoff just for extra like BM the only thing you don't really want to knock off is anything that has Marvel Scale or like Toxic Boost or Poison Heal because it's not gonna matter. Um,
For sure. I love the speed heals he has. I really enjoy them because you have a Charizard, you have 20, you have the Lone Ninetales, and then you do have Raichu, and you have Sandslash. So that has a very decent speed heal once the hail gets up. And Heracross is one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best Scoff users because Moxie is a very great ability.
Agreed.
Yeah, his team is like I never saw this team until now. I'm just realizing like this team, you can have like 100 sets of these different mons because each mon can do a different role each,
Agreed.
which is actually impressed me.
Except for really Alamomola, because Alamomola is kind of always going to be cleric. Um, Snorlax is pretty much always going to either be stall or set
Call
up.
spelling, and they can run like low end. It can stop set sweepers.
Yeah.
It like Snorlax literally is a very. I would always drop Snorlax.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad mon. I'm just saying Snorlax, when he brings the Snorlax, it's pretty much either going to be stall slash uh
So,
like a tilt mon to like make your opponents tilt like if they're setting up, um or like I said, it's gonna be, belly drum, citrus berry, or resto, chesto, curse.
I just realized why he drafted Snorlax right now. He's weak to fire.
Yes, he is indeed weak to fire. You became a robot, but yes, he is weak to fire. Um, it sounds like we lost Drake real quick to Discord. Let me try and pull him back up. No, we lost him. Oh, you're back. You're back. Hello.
He sucks.
You roboted.
Hello.
That's not my fault. That's Discord. But yes,
Oh, yeah.
he is weak to fire. I got the fire, and then you became a robot. But it's okay. Yeah, he's weak
weak
to fire.
but he has like Snorlax,
Yeah, and
which helps out
thick fat.
so much. I understand why he got Death Snow kind of because he doesn't want. But yeah, you can all get Death Clops is better. But I think Death Snow is like I don't know. You can run like Death Snow with like Cold Red, I guess. I don't know. I never used Death Snow.
Yeah,
So
I understand why he did it. It's just not what I personally would have done when he has so many Pokemon that do not care about knockoff. For me, it makes more sense to do the Dusclops. But, I mean, it's there. Dusknoir is still gonna be about, not quite as, but about as bulky as his little son or daughter is. So yeah, what do you rate this team?
Following from he has a lower Ninetales that can sell Bell with Charizard X and literally can just tear through people's teams like that. This is like 9.5. Like I'm close to giving it a 10, but there's a few issues that you always can see. He's weak to fire. But he does have a thick fat Easel, and
Thalamomola, but certain Pokemon with coverage like a well prepped Infernape literally doesn't care.
I love this team. Like this team is, I think this team like probably is one of the best teams I've ever seen drafted in a long time. I've been in drafts for like 4 weeks now, and there has not been a team that's been this great, like this well made. It's shocking. It's kind of scary right now.
Yeah, definitely if you just look at it, initially it doesn't look all that scary, but the deeper you look, it's probably gonna be one of the front runners. I'm pretty sure, like I said, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure Snake has been in quite a few leagues, so he knows what he's doing. And I expect him to be a front runner, not only because his team is deceptively really good, because initially you don't really think it's going to take that much prep, but in all actuality it's going to take more prep than you would think. It's probably going to take as much time extra to prep as the sand with web support team.
Yeah. Like, if you think you can outspeed it, like, he has hell, and you have to have, like, a good Switchcraft user that actually outspeeds Sandslash, because Sandslash doesn't care about fire attacks, because it does get off-quake. And yeah, I mean, he has good rapid spin-off, and with forms of Lunar Sandslash. I mean, you can debate about hazards against his team, but he really doesn't care for hazards, because Charizard just goes in. Like you can just leave Charizard.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
it's fun.
It is definitely like you said. The biggest thing holding it back is hazards. But depending on how the battle goes and how the prep is, you don't care. You especially late game, you can just go Ninetales Alola, set up Aurora Veil, go into Zard and D-Dance once or twice and sweep, or depending on what's left, Alola Ninetales, set up Aurora Veil, go into Alolan Sandslash and just wreck people banded.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
even Life Orb. But yeah. Team's really good. But yeah, without any further ado, we're gonna get on to the last little section of this video. Drake, before we go, please tell me some coaches that you or some teams that you or your co-coach are scared of.
Look at this team. I'm very, very scared of the Seattle Mareeps. Obviously, I'm scared of Leo, and I'm scared of probably if Ace is in the same division as Tony and I, then I'm scared of the
The Virginia Scissors.
yeah Virginia Scissors and the
Parramatta Paplios.
yeah. I'm scared of those.
Uh,
Like I'm very scared of them because, like I said before, Onyx is just you can't sleep on Onyx anymore.
yeah. No, that's for sure. Okay, so without any further ado, speaking of standings in conference, in the weekly recap videos, you will I'll go over this a little bit, just kind of a bridge, what happens in each battle, and how the conferences are going. But I will show you all the standings in conference. So right now, you have your Midnight Conference, which is the Virginia Scissors, the Independent Reggie Steels, the Boston Red Bulbs, the St. James Slowbros, the Maine Milotics, and the Philadelphia Fearos. The Midday Conference is the Chicago Infernape, the Seattle Marinis, the Toronto Star Raptors, the Parramatta Poplios, the Edmonton Escavaliers, and the Vancouver Kyogres. As you see, we have it set now. There is a wild card playoffs, spots 3 through 4 at the end of the regular season, which is 10 weeks long. Those teams will battle off with one person from the Midnight Conference and one person from the Midday Conference going to the full playoffs, which will be first and second get put in your official playoffs, and first place has a bye in round 1 for both the wild card playoffs and your actual playoffs. The exhibition game, I will take the 4 teams that do not make playoffs and randomize them as an opponent for me, and that exhibition game will be uploaded, as well as the championship game. None of the actual playoffs will be uploaded, but the championship game and the exhibition game will be live commentated by myself and anyone else who would like to join in commentation. We're just gonna kind of sit back and watch as things unfold, and I will hopefully the person who I am exhibition matching will not be my fellow caster, and I can talk about what I'm trying to do.
Oh, don't worry, I'll make it so he got me. Somewhere wants to trade with me. Oh, that's fine by me.
Um,
Nah,
so yeah,
I'm good.
these rankings do not matter. These are the current rankings are just I put them in order of so it's who I asked who wants to be in what conference, and it was just filled out as things went along, as people joined and as people decided what conference they wanted. Um, so yeah, Drake, is there anything else that you want to say before we head off real quick? Um,
Hope, hopefully we get this weekly updates, and hopefully I can help manage them. If playoff games, if people want to watch the playoff games, I will record it, and if people don't, but I personally will record it for people.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It's just that unless I don't know who all is uploading because this is not an upload required league. You can upload if you want.
I know Leo's uploading. I know Stephanie's uploading. That's all who I know.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else is.
But I'm not uploading because I have literally that's going to be like 4 leagues.
Yeah, and it makes sense. But yeah. So weekly schedule, real quick. Week 1, you have. So the way it works is I will come in here and I will highlight it. Weeks 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, and 10 are all division matches. The person you face in week 1 and week 10 are the same. Those are your division rivals. So week 1, you have the Virginia Scissors versus the St. James Slowbro, the Chicago Infernates versus the Paramount Apoplios, the Independent Reggie Steels versus the Maine Milotics, the Seattle Marinis versus the Edmonton S Cavaliers, the Boston Red Bulls versus the Philadelphia Pharaohs, and the Toronto Star Raptors versus the Vancouver Kyogres.
Yeah.
So, just to look forward to, we'll have a weekly recap video basically telling you the results, etc. Coaches do have to post their replays so that we can analyze them, etc. Because obviously I'm not able to stay up 24/7, 24/7 to to be like, okay, this match is going on now. You know what I mean? So yeah, be tuned for that, and hopefully, and the people with the smaller roster, it seems like we're gonna be able to get shit done. In a better, it should be easier to get shit done.
Like, I was down for season 1 to season 2 and blah 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 and all this shit. I seen what happened. I'm like, okay.
And you even told me my biggest issue is that I'm too nice, but that's right.
Yeah, like I'm not asking because I'm not asking to people. Like, I'm not asking for a reason, because if you don't get your games done, then you have no reason to partake in the league. That's my opinion. That's how I am now, because I feel like you have a week to do it, and I understand your personal life, but you actually have to talk to us and say, hey, can I have more time? If you don't say that, then we give you a forfeit. That's how I see it. If Major doesn't like that way, then that's Major.
Oh, no, that's the way I'm going to be this season. And we're not going to get into that. Because I don't want to throw certain people under the bus or, be bad. But yeah.
Just give us heads up. That's all the admins are asked. Just give us heads up.
That is definitely true. All right. So, without any further ado, this is a long-ass video. I wanted this to be done at like 2:30. As you can see, it's 3:30, so my apologies. We went into a little more depth than we probably should have, but that's alright. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week with a weekly update on how the conferences are going. A basic summary of the battles. Who won and why they won. It's gonna be a lot shorter format. I'm not gonna go, like this Pokemon died on this turn and this Pokemon died on this turn. I'm gonna be like, okay, so there was like just an example, there was some swapping, and then someone swapped in Xmon clicked, set up move A and killed. It's gonna be more in depth, but I'm not, you know what I mean.
Like the GBA did, not the GBA, just basically like.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you once again for watching, and we will see you, I don't know, sometime next week. Actually, it's the week after, because week 1 matches are due this coming Sunday. So yeah, see you guys next week.